was something about her that caught his attention. It wasn't just her presence, but the serenity she radiated. The way she was immersed in her book, completely absorbed, as if she had stepped into another world. He tried to look away, but his thoughts kept drifting back to her. As he sat there, lost in his reflections, something unusual happened. A deep blue butterfly landed delicately on his shoulder. Surprised, he remained still, watching as the fragile creature stayed for a few moments before fluttering away. The scene was brief, yet it carried a weight he couldn't ignore. He couldn't shake the feeling that it was a sign. Maybe something in his life was changing, even if he didn't understand it yet. Days later, he returned to the park. He wasn't sure why, but something kept pulling him back, as if that place had become more than just a refuge of silence. And there she was again, sitting in the same spot, wearing the same calm expression, lost in her book. Time passed, and he noticed a pattern. Whenever he returned to the park, she was there too, a quiet constant in the landscape. They never spoke, only exchanged brief glances, a silent understanding of mutual respect for each other's space. Yet something inside him had begun to shift. He felt a lightness he hadn't experienced in a long time. Then on a bright sunny day, after weeks of silent encounters, she finally closed her book, stood up and walked toward him. His heart raced in a way it hadn't in years, but he tried to appear calm. "You come here often, don't you?" she asked, her voice soft, her smile gentle. He nodded, unsure of what to say. "Yes, I guess this place brings me peace." She sat down beside him, keeping a respectful distance. "I come here for the same reason. It's my place to meet with God. The world feels simpler when I'm here." He hesitated, absorbing her words. There was something about the way she spoke of God that intrigued him. It had been a long time since he had thought about faith. Since the betrayal that had shattered him, his relationship with God had faded, nearly disappeared. They talked for a while. Her words were simple yet filled with wisdom, carrying a warmth that calmed him. She shared her own struggles, how she had faced difficult times, but found strength in her faith. "Sometimes we think we're alone, that God has forgotten us," she said, gazing at the sky. "But he's always there, sending us small signs. We just need to be willing to see them." He thought of the butterfly that had landed on his shoulder days before, and in that moment, he started to understand. Maybe it hadn't been just a coincidence. Maybe it had been God trying to show him something. As the days passed, their conversations deepened. With each meeting, he found himself more intrigued, more drawn to her quiet strength and unwavering faith. It was unlike any connection he had experienced before, free of pressure, expectations, or urgency. It was something different, something built on stillness and simplicity. One evening, as they walked through the park, she spoke words that stayed with him long after. "I believe God leads us to the right people at the right time. We may not understand it immediately, but he has a plan for each of us. And sometimes all we need to do is trust, even when the path seems unclear." A deep peace settled within him. It was as if, for the first time, the pieces of his past, the pain, the doubts, were finally beginning to fit together. Maybe he was being guided toward something greater than he had imagined. That night, as he lay in bed, he remembered the verse she had mentioned before. And now it made perfect sense. God's plans are greater than ours, and in the right time, everything is revealed. His journey of healing hadn't come through grand gestures or dramatic events, but through small signs and quiet moments. And there, in that park, he finally understood, when God wants to unite two lives, he does it in unexpected yet perfect ways. All he needed to do was trust and let his plan unfold. The lesson of the story. Life is full of surprises, often placing us in situations that test our strength and faith. Have you ever felt lost, believing everything was falling apart? In those moments, the weight of a broken heart, past wounds, and an uncertain future can feel unbearable. But here's something you must remember. Nothing is beyond God's control. Even when things seem hopeless, when everything feels destroyed, he is present, watching over every detail. It's hard to see this when things aren't going well, but those are the moments when faith needs to be strongest. You don't need to understand everything right now. God's timing is not ours. Maybe you've been deeply hurt before. Maybe fear of being hurt again is keeping you from moving forward. But believe this, God does not allow pain without purpose. Every experience, every tear you've shed has meaning. What happened in your past does not define your future. God is preparing something new for you. But for that to happen, you must let go of what no longer serves you. Healing begins when you open your heart to new possibilities, new people, and the unexpected. It may be difficult at first, but slowly, God will show you that love, peace, and happiness are not just possible. They are promised to those who trust in Him. So what should you do when fear of the unknown holds you back? Remember, you are not alone. God sees you, knows your pain, and understands the dreams you're afraid to believe in again. He is calling you to trust once more, to open your heart to something greater than you can imagine. After a great heartbreak, it's easy to think you'll never trust again, never start over. But you can. It's not about forgetting the past. It's about allowing God to restore your heart. Just as He turns chaos into peace, He can transform your pain into something beautiful. It all starts with a simple act of faith. Faith that what doesn't make sense now will soon become clear. Faith that even when the road seems uncertain, God is handling every detail. And above all, faith that you deserve the love and joy He is preparing for you. Maybe you're on the edge of a new chapter in your life, but fear is holding you back. Don't let fear be stronger than your trust in God's plan. He knows what He's doing, and He will never let you go through something without a greater purpose. The next time you feel lost, remember this: storms pass, pain fades, and the sun always returns. And when you least expect it, you'll see that what felt like an ending was just the beginning of something far greater. God has not forgotten you. He is preparing something beyond your imagination. All you have to do now is trust and move forward. Open your heart to new possibilities, new encounters, and most importantly, to the love that God is writing for you. Everything happens in its perfect time. Be patient and never stop believing. The best is yet to come.